Your plan to kill me and take my fortune was perfect, until the dead crawled out of the coffin to stand right behind you.
Welcome to Vital Life Stories. Today we explore a tale of betrayal, where a broken heart becomes a very silent predator. She lived a perfect life with a loving husband and loyal friend. She never knew it was just a cruel lie. The devastating truth emerged on a rainy evening. She found them together in their own home, destroying her entire world forever. This was not just a simple mistake. It was a calculated double betrayal that struck at her most fundamental human trust. She stood there in the shadows, watching the two people she loved most laugh and share a passionate, secret, romantic embrace. Tears streamed down her face as her soul shattered into pieces. The pain was sharp, cutting deeper than any physical wound. She could have called the police or hired lawyers immediately. However, ordinary justice felt too weak for this terrible, unforgivable crime. Instead of confronting them, she quietly backed away into the darkness. A new, terrifying plan began forming in her brilliant mind. She realized that playing the victim would only give them power. She needed to become something entirely different and much stronger. To destroy them completely, she had to erase her own existence. Social death was the only path to true, absolute vengeance. Late at night, she packed a small bag with essential items. She left her wedding ring resting coldly on the table. She drove her car toward the treacherous mountain cliffs. The storm provided the perfect cover for her grand, final disappearing act. Pushing the empty vehicle over the steep edge, she watched it crash into the raging river far below the dark road. The next morning, authorities found the burning wreckage in the water. Everyone assumed the poor, betrayed wife had tragically passed away. The husband and best friend played their grieving roles perfectly. They shed fake tears while secretly celebrating their newfound, twisted freedom. But she was not dead. She had retreated to an abandoned underground bunker, located just outside the quiet, peaceful city limits. This cold, dark basement became her sanctuary. It represented her rebirth, a place where pure hatred could safely grow and fester. She installed hidden cameras in her old house before leaving. Now, she watched their every move from her glowing computer screens. Days turned into weeks. She observed them sleeping in her bed and spending her personal saved money without any real guilt. Every smile they shared fueled her burning rage. She meticulously documented their financial frauds and illegal business dealings in complete silence. She was no longer the soft, forgiving woman they knew. She cut her hair, changed her style, and hardened her heart. The basement walls were covered with photographs and complex red strings. It looked like the command center of a brilliant detective. She hacked into his corporate accounts, slowly draining his secret funds. She moved the money into untraceable offshore accounts, very carefully. Meanwhile, the happy couple announced their official engagement. They planned a lavish party to celebrate their stolen, fake romantic love story. This was the perfect opportunity. The wife smiled in the dark. Her masterpiece of revenge was finally ready to be executed. She began sending small, anonymous gifts to the house. Each package contained a subtle reminder of her supposedly dead, forgotten presence. A bottle of her favorite perfume arrived first. The husband brushed it off as a strange, meaningless mistake by the store. Then came a music box playing their old wedding song. Paranoia slowly began to creep into their seemingly perfect, happy lives. The best friend started having terrible nightmares. She felt a cold, unseen presence watching her from the dark, empty hallway corners. They argued constantly, the guilt and fear tearing at their bond. The foundation of their betrayal was already beginning to crumble. Down in the basement, the wife prepared her final outfit. She chose a stunning dress, symbolizing blood, power, and absolute victory. She loaded all the incriminating evidence onto a small flash drive. This tiny device held the power to ruin their lives. The night of the engagement party finally arrived. The grand ballroom was filled with wealthy guests, elegant music, and bright lights. The husband raised his glass for a toast. He spoke of overcoming tragedy and finding new love in the darkest times. The guests clapped, completely unaware of the sinister truth. Outside the heavy wooden doors, the resurrected wife waited in total silence. She signaled the audio technician, whom she had secretly paid off. The romantic music suddenly stopped, leaving a heavy, awkward silence. The large projector screens flickered to life. Instead of a romantic slideshow, security footage from the bedroom filled the massive displays. Gasps echoed through the crowded room. The footage clearly showed the husband and best friend together while the wife was alive. Panic set in as audio recordings started playing. Their cruel voices mocked the supposedly dead woman, exposing their toxic, evil nature. The husband yelled at the staff to turn it off, but the system was locked, playing the truth on endless loop. Next, financial documents flashed across the bright screens. They detailed his massive illegal embezzlement and tax fraud for everyone to see. Business partners in the crowd began making angry phone calls. In mere seconds, his entire corporate empire was completely, utterly destroyed. The best friend fell to her knees, crying as her own dark secrets were revealed to her shocked, disgusted family members. Then, the heavy wooden doors slowly swung open. A lone spotlight hit the entrance, cutting through the chaotic, dark party atmosphere. She stepped into the light, wearing that stunning dress. She looked nothing like the broken victim they had cast aside before. The room fell into a dead, terrifying silence. The husband turned pale, looking as if he had seen an actual ghost. She walked slowly down the grand staircase. Every step echoed with authority, commanding the absolute attention of every single terrified guest. The best friend backed away, trembling in pure horror. The woman they destroyed had returned as an incredibly powerful, unstoppable force. She stopped right in front of them. She did not scream or cry. Instead, she offered them a cold, chilling smile. Police sirens wailed loudly in the distance. She had sent the financial evidence to the authorities hours before the engagement party. The husband tried to grab her arm, but security guards swiftly intervened. He was now a criminal, powerless, and completely disgraced. She leaned in and whispered softly into his ear. Her words were a final, deadly strike to his shattered, fragile ego. "You took my heart," she murmured. "So I took your entire world." The absolute despair in his eyes was deeply satisfying. Police officers stormed into the lavish ballroom. They immediately placed the husband in tight steel handcuffs under the bright chandelier lights. The best friend tried to sneak away, but officers blocked her path. She was arrested as a willing accomplice to fraud. As they were dragged away, the crowd watched in stunned silence. The celebration had transformed into a spectacular, humiliating public downfall. The wife stood tall among the whispers of the elite. She had orchestrated the most brilliant, flawless revenge plot ever witnessed. She walked out of the ballroom, leaving the chaos behind. The cool night air felt incredibly refreshing on her glowing face. Her car was waiting outside. She slipped into the front seat, feeling a profound sense of liberation and deep inner peace. The basement was now empty, the red strings torn down. That dark chapter of her life was finally, permanently closed, forever. She drove through the city streets, watching the neon lights reflect on her windshield. A brand new life awaited her ahead. The morning news exploded with headlines about the massive corporate scandal. The guilty husband was plastered across every single television channel. His bank accounts were frozen, his properties seized by the government. He had lost absolutely everything in a single, devastating night. The best friend faced years in prison for her involvement. Their toxic romance quickly dissolved into bitter hatred and mutual blame. Sitting in a cold jail cell, the husband finally realized the true magnitude of his terrible, foolish, and arrogant life mistakes. He had traded a loyal, brilliant partner for a fleeting illusion. Now, he would spend decades paying for that fatal choice. Meanwhile, the wife sat in a sunny cafe halfway across the globe. She sipped her coffee, reading the news with satisfaction. She had legally reclaimed her identity and her stolen wealth. The law recognized her as a victim, but she knew better. She was the ultimate architect of her own justice. She proved that true power lies in patience, strategy, and silent execution. Her story became a legendary warning among the city elite members. Never underestimate the quiet strength of a deeply betrayed woman. The scars of betrayal would always remain, but they no longer defined her. They were simply badges of her incredible survival. She looked out at the beautiful ocean waves, breathing in the salty air. The heavy burden of vengeance was finally lifted. From the dark depths of a hidden basement to the bright sunlight of true freedom, her transformation was now completely finished. She smiled warmly at the horizon, ready to embrace whatever beautiful mysteries the rest of her life had to offer her. Thank you for watching Vital Life Stories. If you enjoyed this dark tale, please subscribe for more thrilling and captivating videos.